Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at the Palanite Enforcers. This video is sponsored by the Game Bunker. More on that later. So the Palanite Enforcers are getting a bunch of brand new models, including a new kit, and then also some resin miniatures as well. And while Necromunda is probably one of the hardest games to actually get into and approach, because there's so many different books, there's so many different things like the cards and the dice that are hard to get specifically for certain factions. Once you do get into it, once you do have a good community of regular players and you can get like a league or a campaign going, it is a ton of fun. Unfortunately, I think it needs a new edition and kind of like a rework to simplify it, condense some of the different like volumes of books and rules to make it like a new starting or like approachment point for new players to get into it. That being said, let's take a look at the Palanite Enforcers. They unleash their unique brand of justice with new officers, weapons, and a book. Necromunda is a lawless place where gangs vie for control through endless violent skirmishes and opportunistic criminals eke out a living in the labyrinthian innards of the great hive cities. Despite the chaos innate in this brutal environment, Lord Helmar still expects the subjects to practice obedience, diligence, and devotion. This is where the Palanite Enforcers come in. Uncompromising in the fate of crime and willing to punish all disobedience, they impress the law upon the Underhive with the butt of a gun. They also act as House Helmar's personal army. Fractious times on Necromunda require stern measures, and so Grizzled veterans' new weapons have been authorized for use in the field. Alright, so we got some brand new models right here. We see like a leader of a squad, and then we see an alternative build for like that same leader. Some different weapon options available as well. So it definitely looks like a new plastic kit coming. Palanite Enforcer captains wear snazzy coats and oppressive hats to denote their rank, unmistakable as they ride through the Underhive. They have absolute authority on how they conduct their operations as long as the gang violence is kept in check and production quotas are met. Reporting directly to them are similarly hardened Enforcer Sergeants and Subjugator Sergeants, the latter of which are equipped with heavy armor and have much experience in dispersing unruly crowds. This is every crowd in Necromunda. Alright, so again we see 4 new models, and then we can see clearly this is the same model as this one. So this one has a heavy weapon, this one is a sergeant, and then again we see the same thing here. This one appears to be a sergeant, and then that one a like more specialized weapon as well. This set of 8 miniatures is completed by a pair of hard-case cyber mastiffs. Even in the grim darkness of the far future, mutts remain man's best friend. These ones are so heavily augmented with bionics and armor, they're hardly comforting to be around. But they are very efficient in mauling unlucky recordvists. Alright, so we see 2 cyber mutts as well. So it definitely looks like there's going to be 8 models in this kit. It looks like it's going to be like 2 duplicate sets. So you'll have different build options for each of the models. So you could build either 2 of each model exactly the same or build them with different options. So much like the previous expansion kits we've seen for the other Necromunda gangs. Very cool to see the Enforcers getting theirs. The Cyber Mutts are super cool. Some of the Sergeants and heavy weapons looking pretty juicy as well. So very, very cool to see the Enforcers getting some reinforcements. With gangs bringing powerful specialists, nastier guns, and bigger brutes on the street brawls, the Palanite Enforcers are unlocking their armories and tooling up with specialized gear. So here we can see a bunch of stuff here. So we have like some specialized shields, we have some stub pistols, a flamer, a sniper, some extra power mauls, bunch of other weapons here as well. And then of course the arms to go along with them and some different head options. Some super cool knives here also, very cool. The weapons and upgrade pack contains 2 matching sprues, which patch in 5 heads, 10 sets of right and left arms, and range weapons. There's shock batons, assault shields, manacles, web guns, and concussion carbines to give your patrolmen plenty of crowd control options. And a selection of more lethal weapons are included for when your full force is authorized. Nothing says justice on Necromunda like a high caliber round delivered right to the forehead from a sniper rifle. Rules for everything above will be available in Necromunda Bastions of Law, a fully fleshed out House of Style book for Palanite Enforcers. There's a gang list featuring the captain and sergeant above, 2 new scenarios, gang tactics, bad zone enforcer gang lists for those who want to attempt to tame the desolate wilds of Necromunda, new weapons profiles, and plenty of new ways to run Palanite Enforcer precincts. Alright, so very cool. Here we can see the Bastions of Law, awesome cover art right here, and fully fleshed out rules for the Enforcers. As Scanner is still tuned in to the Enforcer frequencies and calls for reinforcements as the Underhive of the Assways just keep on coming. We'll be putting in a dispatch notice for the rest of the patrolmen just after we wash down the snack with a lovely mug of warm recaf.
Now a quick word from today's sponsor, Game Bunker. Game Bunker carries a full range of Games Workshop products including miniatures, terrain, paint, tools, and more. Game Bunker offers 15% off MSRP for most Games Workshop products with the discount code WHMS. Receive free shipping in the continental United States on orders over $145. Online orders ship out within 24 hours. Game Bunker is a veteran-owned business. Use affiliate link below, enter discount code WHMS to save 15% on most items at checkout. For fast, friendly service with a discount on your favorite tabletop wargaming purchases, visit GameBunker.net and let them know that Warhammer Man sent you.
Alright, and we do have some more reinforcements. Squeeze more than just a confession out of them with the Palanite Enforcer haunts. Enforcing the law in Necromunda is no mean feat. Wielding archaeotech lost to the wider galaxy, there's dangerous psychers floating around, melting brains and taking names. Lord Helmar's enforcers would therefore be absolutely daft not to include some kind of defense from the Imperium in their entourage, which is exactly what the Palanite Enforcer haunts are for. Alright, so we got 2 new psychers for the Palanite Enforcers as well. So very, very cool. See 2 different models right here with some cool like gauntlets which have like some psychic abilities kind of tuned into them, and then of course like on their legs as well. We've got cool helmets with some psychic like manipulation devices attached to them. Very cool sculpts right here. Enforcer haunts are forced to endure unprecedented levels of indoctrination and the hypnotic programming even among the brainwashed ranks of the Palanites, rendering utterly incapable of so much as questioning orders. When not locked away in chambers covered with protective wards deep within Precinct Fortress, they are locked in suits of psycho-reactive armor designed to help control and focus their abilities. So very cool models, very cool lore to go along with them. Definitely looking forward to seeing these guys all painted up. These sanctioned psychers are picked by Lord Helmar and his lackeys for their unshakable discipline when using their psychic abilities, and their relative stability using their powers. Should they succumb to the perils of the warp, their custom-made suits are lined with hexagrammic dampeners that prevent them from becoming a danger to themselves or their allies, or opening the door of reality to something nastier. So we have the Sanctioned Psyker rule. A Psyker with this special rule may reroll a failed willpower test once per battle. And then we have the hexagrammic dampeners. If this fighter suffers a Perils of the Warp, there's no need to roll on the Perils of the Warp table. Instead, the fighter is immediately taken out of action with a result on lasting injury table of 15 to 26, out cold. Alright, so they got some resistance to failing a willpower test, and then also if they do fail a Perils of the Warp test, the suit just knocks them unconscious. Very cool little like lore and then game term rules as well. Haunts come in 2 varieties. Psi renderers are proficient telepaths, mind-reading officers who can rummage around in the brains of their foes, forcing them to turn on their allies, becoming distracted by hallucinations, or breaking down into gibbering wrecks. And then we also have Bone Crushers. Bone Crushers are less subtle, creating force fields around nearby allies, hurling enemies off high platforms, a Necromunda tradition, and crushing their bodies with a thought. This pair of forgeworld resin miniatures comes with rules in the box, which you can also find in the upcoming Bastions of Law expansion book. Alright, so we get a new plastic kit, we've got a new weapons and equipment upgrade pack, we got a new book with rules, and then of course we have a new Forge World kit. So very cool for the Enforcers. Definitely one of my favorite gangs in Necromunda, at least of the new stuff. Let me know if you've been playing Necromunda, if you've always wanted to play Necromunda but found it hard to approach. Always like to hear back from you guys in the comments. And as always, special thanks to the Game Bunker for sponsoring the channel. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on most Games Workshop products with code WHMS at checkout. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.